We are back with more Oh, What a Marvel, the show on the Merc with the Movie Blog YouTube channel where we are talking all about the Marvel Disney Plus series, Moon Knight. I am one of your hosts, Sean, and unfortunately, Dean could not make it tonight, but we have the Merc himself on the show.
What?
Merc, what's up, dude?
Hey, man, how's it going? I'm excited to talk about this one. It was a crazy episode.
It was a very crazy episode, and I might have some hot takes, a singular hot take about it. So I'm excited to get into it. But
Right.
The episode we're talking about is episode 5. It's titled Asylum for obvious reasons. Directed by Mohammed Diab, written by Rebecca Kirsch and Matthew Orton, and it originally aired yesterday, which was April 27th, 2022. Oh my gosh. It's almost done. This was episode 5. We've got one more left, which is like kind of crazy, happening on May 4th, which is kind of crazy too. You'd think they'd do like, a Star Wars show on May 4th or something like that. But regardless, Josh, what'd you think, overall thoughts on episode 5 of Moon Knight?
I actually really liked it. I liked how they are. I mean, I know it's only 6 episodes and we only spent like half of the show actually with him in a suit and everything, so like that kind of bums me out, but I like the kind of being inside his head and exploring that side a bit more, and we finally are learning more about how everything happened in the first place. So for all that, I did really enjoy it. So
I also really enjoyed this episode a lot. I do have a bit of a hot take in that I almost audibly groaned every time the episode shifted from a flashback to the underworld section.
Oh, really?
I did not like the underworld section. I liked the idea on paper. I did not think it looked good. Okay. I thought the environment looked it almost looked like an animated movie that Oscar Isaac was pasted on top of.
You mean like when they're outside?
When they're outside on the boat, yeah. I also thought Taweret.
Yeah, I think that's how you say it.
I didn't think she looked great in the episode. I think if we had a more grounded setting and been able to spend more money on her effects, it would have looked better. But
yeah,
something about when they were outside on the boat, just it felt like they were reaching. Yeah, it felt like they were reaching just a little too far for the budget they had with this being a television show. Because even though they always talk about how these shows have movie level budgets, it's movie level budgets stretched out across a lot more screen time or runtime.
Yeah, I mean, it's 6 episodes and they're like close to an hour-ish, 45. So it's like 2 to 3 movies worth of stuff. And if it's just a single movie's budget, well, it's going to stretch it.
And it's I struggled. I shouldn't say low budget, but because it's not. But it's low budget for Marvel, right? It's not a Doctor Strange budget, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're spending what, like 150 million or something on these shows, 100 million. Like that's a lot of money for most movies, but for a Marvel movie, that's kind of low end, right?
Yeah.
That's not. I mean, they spent $500 million on Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah.
They spent a lot of money. But anyways, that was my big thing, was just I thought the flashback sequences were incredible. I mean, I think some of the best stuff that has been done in a Marvel property so far. But just it kind of reminded me a little bit. It didn't remind me like stylistically at all of Logan, but it felt very grounded and real like Logan did. It felt like we took this character and we were like, all right, and then here's just like his normal ass backstory, which is these people living their lives or whatever. But yeah, whenever they were on the boat, it looks like an animated movie to me, a little bit.
Yeah, I can see it, and I mean that's why they kept it dark.
Yeah, it was definitely dark. Worse. Yeah. Yeah, we're wise to your tricks, Marvel. We know. But I think on paper, everything that happens in the afterlife is really cool. And I think it like implies a lot of really cool stuff about the nature of the Marvel universe.
I agree.
right at the beginning, we open the episode with a scene that is very strange without any context. And I think even with all the context of the episode, it still doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Which is like, I think the episode opens with like Mark's mother yelling at them, but then it cuts to Mark in the doctor, like the Dr. Harrow office. But he has like a bloodied nose and he's being restrained and he's speaking with like a Brooklyn accent.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that was Mark or Steven.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that I was surprised.
I know there were people who said they thought that maybe we finally saw this Jake from the comics.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
We have a guest.
Whoa, we have a guest. Yo, Dean is here. Dean, I fucking hated the Afterlife. That was what I was saying a second ago. Thought it was terrible. Awful. No. I thought it looked like an animated movie that they just kind of pasted Oscar Isaac onto. I thought the budget wasn't quite there for what they wanted to do.
What, in the boat?
Yeah, and anytime they were out on the deck of the boat, I thought it just wasn't quite there for what they dreamed very big, and I liked it, but I wasn't quite sure that the visuals supported it.
Yeah.
Oh man. Who's the one who comes to play? Bing bong.
Yeah, Josh was literally talking about that while we were waiting to see if you would show up. He was like, Josh was like, it would suck if Dean doesn't make it because like he's been doing the bing bong thing the whole time.
Oh man,
it's true.
They literally like it paralleled it so well. God. Instead of having to like, because bing bong they needed to lose the weight, and in this they needed to even the scales, so they had to drop the dead weight.
Yep.
It's brutal.
Yeah. So Dean, what were your overall thoughts on the episode?
I mean, like they really ride the whole episode out. Like they keep like there's no like, oh, we'll get to like the destination like right at the end of the episode kind of thing. It's like we're committed to like we're just going to delve deeper into the psyche. And you know, we're not going to rush to get back to like the main plot line.
I like that they took the time. It reminded me of the episode of WandaVision when we did the flashback stuff. What was that like? Was that the second to last episode as well?
I believe so.
But
there's a couple like that in WandaVision.
I really loved all the writing in the episode. I thought it was all written well. It's just, again, I wasn't quite sure that the visuals matched the ideas that they wanted to. Look, they're essentially making, like I was saying with Josh, 2 movies with the budget of a lower. It's not a low budget at all by any means, but it's a low budget for a Marvel movie. Right, they're not spending Infinity War Endgame levels of money on these shows, right? But
no.
So I understand when the budget is lacking a little bit.
We're basically making Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind for like half this episode. So yeah, you're right. It is like very much like two different things.
Yeah, very very jarring. So we were talking about, before you joined in, a possible appearance of a possible third personality that we've been speculating about for weeks.
A lot less of that than I thought we was going to get. I thought that was going to be like the big point of this episode, was we was going to find out about this third personality, but we more just get into the development of Steven.
Yeah.
And they don't even mention really this third personality, but like you say, there's a hint.
That scene is so weird because it's completely out of context of everything else that happens in the episode.
Yeah, like it would have made sense. Like if you were gonna set that up, like you would have done that in this episode.
Yeah.
So my main thought on that is that they're gonna do the classic. like that we're gonna resolve the story in the next episode, and then in, like the post-credit scene is gonna be like Oscar
Jake.
Isaac
Yeah.
as Jake as a third personality, and he's gonna be like driving the taxi. He's gonna be doing the New York accent. He's gonna tip the cap and drive off, and then we're gonna cut to black.
Is he a third personality or is he a second now?
Yeah, a bit soon. My boy Steven.
I really hope that if we're gonna get Jake, it's in a post-credit scene. I think at this point, I mean, I think I saw somebody post the runtime for next week who's pretty good about posting runtimes and stuff. I think it was like 43 minutes. It's like the shortest episode so far. So
wow.
I'm skeptical because I think the only Marvel finale so far that has really stuck the landing has been Loki. I've enjoyed all the other ones, but I don't think they've matched the level of like previous episodes of the season. Whereas I think the last episode of Loki is incredible. So I'm a little concerned about how we're gonna be landing this ship next week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm concerned that we're gonna leave this show having had very little actual Moon Knight, and that a lot of people are going to be divided over it because of that. You know, you can get weird, but if you don't deliver on the title character in the finale, like people get upset, but then you get the complaints of the One Division. Oh, it's just bad guys shooting lasers at each other. But again, if you've earned it,
what's up, movie lovers?
I said this about One Division as well. Like, it's okay if you've earned it. You put in the time. You've done all your weird shit. You've dived in deep, and then you come back up to the surface at the end for a big splash.
I like that.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. You can have both in something. But I'm just not sure. I feel like with the things that Oscar Isaac has said, like maybe they're gonna try really hard to subvert and not do that, and it's gonna just stay very kind of more introspective, and
they're gonna reveal that they're gonna reveal that all of this is Jake in the asylum.
I mean,
he's just been crazy the whole time.
I mean, I don't see him going that gritty, but it wouldn't surprise me at this point.
It feels okay. So I was gonna say this question for the end, but I feel like it's appropriate to bring up now. The show has been described as a limited series. Season 2? I mean, are we wrapping everything up next week? Are we? I mean,
no.
the thing about it is, right, that we knew Loki was getting a season 2. Like, they played it like a big reveal in the credits, but we had known from reports and stuff that they had at some point in production started planning a second season.
Yeah.
I think it was like the January before the show came out. I think people started reporting that they were going to do another one. There's been no whispers, as far as I am aware, of Moon Knight getting a second season.
No, and for all Oscar Isaac's like big talk about like how he's got the script approval, he's just doing the one thing. It's like, come on, this is a Marvel thing. We know the score. Yeah. We're definitely seeing this guy again.
Yeah.
And whether that be in on Ensemble context or in another series. And I mean, I don't know if you already talked about this, but give this guy an Emmy.
He's so good.
Some of the stuff that he's pulling out of his arse in this episode is so good. He's putting out real, like, you know, like independent movie acting in a big budget for the most part Marvel thing.
His performance. I dive really deep with this one. I went on an Egyptian mythology. I assume like Kick. I don't think that we will see the third personality until maybe when we see him in the MCU Marvel movies. Yeah, I think they're going to tease him at least in a post-credit sequence. But I hope we don't see him in the episode. I think it's too crowded.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? Because Jake Lockley's a New York taxi driver, right? So what better place to leave
Moon Knight than in New York,
than in New York as a kind of like and then with that way, with the Jake Lockley personality, you can separate yourself from this whole the storyline of this show if you want to kind of
You kind of get a
keep it
fresh
more.
start with the character.
Yeah, you can kind of keep it more like a traditional, like vigilante street level superhero, and you don't have to bring in any of the baggage of the Mark and Steven stuff. If you just have those personalities like subdued,
Yeah.
and then you can kind of just have this more like regular guy with a bit, we're still with the mental health issues and a bit of an edge, but he's not got all that baggage going in, which could be a very good place to keep the character for, but either ensemble or to as a starting point for a new solo adventure. So I think that's what they'll do.
Yeah, I mean, if that was Jake that we saw in the opening, I think that's a personality that kind of fits a little bit better into the MCU team up kind of thing. Like, it was very over the top, very yeah, it was very over the top. It was a very over the top little sequence at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what jives with the big budget, big MCU team up movies, is very elevated performances and like over the top kind of things. Okay, so the thing I really want to talk about, because we're going to have a bit of a shorter show today because we started a little late, but the flashbacks, because I think that's the highlight of the episode. I think all the flashbacks are incredible.
Yeah.
The sequence where the little brother drowns, gotta be one of the most horrifying things I feel like I've watched in the whole MCU. That was when Steven is just continuing deeper and deeper into the cave as the water is rising. Like, that is just horrific, and it also feels so real.
It's a really well put together sequence. I feel like I've seen this trope of the dead brother though, and the mother and the resentful mother. Like, I feel like I've seen that in other things,
but I feel like we've never seen like that effed up of a relationship, like a familiar relationship in a Marvel movie. Like, we've gotten close.
Definitely not, no.
We've gotten close, but like, I mean, it's this is gonna be weird to say, but it's almost refreshing to have a very natural and realistic cause of death for this kid. It's not my brother was killed by the Winter Soldier, or when the Chitauri attacked, my dad died. Like, it's like we went in this cave that we should not have gone in, and it started to like rain really bad and the cave flooded.
Like, and even just like weirdly refreshing to have like such a not wholesome family relationship as well. Not everyone's getting great power, great responsibility lines before they die. Some are just getting told that they fucking hate you and it's all your fault.
I love the flashbacks, and it was so emotional where you had Mark having the guilt over Mark and him having to deal with that, as well as dealing with the mental abuse from the mother. Yeah. The mother, I never thought we'd see, like, I mean, mental abuse for sure, but also abuse. I mean, like, physical abuse. We didn't see it, but I was kind of surprised that we heard it. You hear the belt, like, as she beats the shit out of him with it. Now, I think that's another hint towards a third personality, although it might be a little convenient if all three personality, or if both offshoot personalities were created in that moment, because it's shown that like that Steven was created as a way to escape from the abuse of their mother. But how does he have this relationship with his mother when he was the one that presumably experienced getting the snot beat out of him?
That was what I was thinking. I thought the rules or the setup of that was a little bit inconsistent or vague. Like you say, Steven's supposed to escape the abuse, but then he turns into Steven and then gets the beating. So is that not Steven saving Mark from the abuse?
Yeah,
because Mark's the one that's regressed and not experiencing it. So maybe maybe that's what he thinks he's doing.
I think
but
he
maybe
invented him to block out the thoughts of his mother. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe
think
the other one is like super violent because it's experience. That's the one that's experiencing the
it's the
beatings.
abuse. That's the one that actually took them. I think it would
And
be a
they, yeah,
little if like all of them are created in that moment. But I mean, I guess I don't know the science, so
yeah,
I will defer to. I assume somebody consulted on this show. I assume there was at least one person. I love it when
yeah.
Dean reads chat because he like leans in to read it, and it looks like he's like staring into your soul. You get like closer. It's like you're the doctor from you're like Dr. Harrow, and I'm like, oh god,
Watch out.
watch out! Oh no, watch out! What? Oh. I loved the relationship between the dad and Mark. I thought that was
What,
very well
J.J.
done.
Abrams? You mean his dad's the famous Hollywood director J.J. Abrams? I couldn't stop thinking about it the whole
I
episode.
didn't think about that until you just said it, but you're absolutely right. um,
But yeah, they did
I
a great job with a little screen time and setting up like that was wholesome, but also like the dad doesn't
this is
really do anything. Like he just like, yeah, I guess we're having a birthday by ourselves again. Like they
yeah.
didn't have one. They could have spliced in one little shot of like, you know, like the dad trying to like reconcile them or like talk to the mum or, you know, heal the situation. I feel like that would have helped.
I think keeping it in Mark's perspective of what he saw, I think
Right?
worked.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
So that's probably happening off camera because he's not.
yeah.
They're not doing it not in front of the kid. Yeah.
I wonder, do we get a scene at the very end of the show where he goes and reconciles with the dad? Like, are we going to see the dad again? Because, I mean, they say that scene where Mark didn't go to I think it's called a Shiva. I know it's like it's a religious thing.
Yeah.
They say that was 2 months before the show started, I think.
Yeah. So this is right when like Stephen comes back, right? So we was
Yeah.
talking about like how long has Stephen been like functioning as like a person. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's since this point.
Yeah.
So Steve, he presumably walks right off of that scene there and goes and gets a job at the art gallery,
It's
and
so
that's where we meet
strange.
him.
It's so strange because doesn't it sound like Steven is having a conversation with somebody on the phone when he's walking away? It doesn't sound like he's leaving a message for his mother like we see throughout the beginning of the show. It sounds like he's like, "Oh, hey, mom, I just, I'm lost again. Can you believe it? I know, it's crazy." Like, it sounds like he's having an actual Did you like my Steven impression, by the way? But it sounds
Yeah.
like he's having an actual conversation with somebody, which we know is impossible because, first of all, mom didn't get along. Also, mom dead. So, like, who was he talking to? Was he talking to anybody? Was his like psyche filling in the other half of the conversation?
I
Like,
assume so.
I wish that we had done more with the. I believe he has dissociative identity disorder. I think we delved further into it with this episode than I had assumed we would, but I think it's not explained enough to where a casual viewer would really understand what's going on with Mark, because a lot of people do not have experience with DID or even knowledge of
No, I
how it
mean,
works.
do you kind of just assume that like it's not just like, you know, it's a mental health thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just contained to those two specific like, oh, okay, this is my personality, this is my
Yeah,
personality. That's where
yeah,
the illness is. It does like probably affect his mind in other areas. So he probably is just filling in the blanks of the
yeah,
phone call.
yeah.
He probably is doing that kind of stuff, you know, like the forgetfulness, all the weird little quirks. So I
Mm-hmm.
kind of just take it in that sense. I don't know if most people will just assume, oh, you know, he's a little bit crazy. He can talk to the mum as well. It's not that much of a
Oh yeah, I think people will accept it. I think people are scared. They grab onto something to calm them down, so it's a self fun. Yeah. No, I get that. I think it was a little weird that like it sounded like he was having a real conversation. But
I mean, come on, Tobey Maguire does this in Spider-Man. Is it Spider-Man 2, the fake phone call scene? Come on, this is an age-old
we don't have
Shakespearean trope.
we don't have time for me to get into my feelings about Tobey Maguire's performance in those movies.
But he talks to the payphone, Sean, and he tells you his feelings, but she's not really there.
I will tell you, I'm sure many people would find them controversial. I very much enjoyed all the flashbacks. Like Mephisto was on the phone. That's true. For the longest time, I thought that maybe he was talking to Mark's wife. That's what I thought at first as well. But I don't think that would work with anything that has happened so far.
She doesn't know.
I'm excited to see where we go for like this next episode, episode 6, wrapping it all out. I'm excited to find out, is there gonna be a season 2? Is there not gonna be a season 2? Is Moon Knight are we gonna see Moon Knight will return in?
That's what they're gonna put.
You know what would be interesting though, is if they said Moon Knight will return in Werewolf by Night or something. Because they still haven't announced that, and it's about to shoot, or it's already shooting, I think. So
yeah,
I mean, this could be an official announcement.
Yeah, I mean, I could easily see them doing, somebody's got the problem with the werewolf in that special, and they're like, somebody's like, I know a guy who can like throw things and jump off a building.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Lewis from
Oh my god,
from Ant-Man.
That'd be so good.
He's like jumps off walls, he climbs up the thing.
Yeah.
Throws the moons.
I don't want Spider-Man. No. He's a moon guy. I thought it was a little cheesy in this when Khonshu was like, "You will be my Moon Knight." I was like,
"Oh
no.
man, I
love the scene. I love the scene." But it was a little like
ever since like I've known about Moon Knight's origin story, like that's the bit that you read about on like the Wikipedia, in the tomb, left for dead, accepts the god. That's the stuff that I've been waiting to see. That stuff was
great. I just thought the line itself, the "you will be my Moon Knight" or whatever, that line specifically was a little cheesy.
Specifically, "you will be my Moon Knight." Yeah. That was a little bit like we're gonna shoehorn the name in there.
That scene overall was incredible. I mean, it was great. Really good.
Yeah.
A little dark, which a lot of this show has been. And I don't mean thematically, I mean visually. I don't think it's Game of Thrones season 8 level bad, but like it's kind of hard to see sometimes.
Yeah, well, it was hard for him to see when he was left for dead in that temple, Sean. So
you don't understand. You're experiencing it from the character's point of view. So, they're confused. So you're also confused. Shut the fuck up. I want to be able to see the shit I'm watching. No, it was fine. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't anywhere near as bad as Game of Thrones, but season 8. But it was a little hard to see at points. I don't think it was as bad as the Tomb episode. What was that, last week? Was that last week?
Yeah, it got pretty dark in places.
In the last week, yeah. So how do you think we wrap this all out next week? I know, big question.
I have no idea, because
we end in a weird place.
We're gonna Layla's presumably gonna like find the Khonshu statue. She's gonna smash it open. He's gonna wake up.
Is he just bleeding to death in that?
Yeah, I guess so. This is all happening in a matter of seconds after getting shot. This whole last 2 episodes.
Because Tower Red does say like, you could go back, but you're still going to be returning to a body that just got shot. Like, this isn't a thing where he comes back to life and he's magically healed. It's, you can go back to your body, but you're still bleeding to death.
Well, presumably, as soon as he activates the Moon Knight suit, he'll be fine.
But he doesn't have this suit right now, right?
Well, no, but if Khonshu, she's just got to get the statue right and like bust it open.
Aren't they holding the statue in like the realm of the gods or something? like in some pyramid somewhere. How's she gonna get to that when he's bleeding out in the water? I think that Steven might come back because of the judgment of the scales. Didn't judge Steven. I mean, Steven could definitely come back.
Yeah, I don't think he's gone completely. I think he could still resurface.
God.
But I think that's it for a little while. But we might hear his voice occasionally in the final episode. I feel like it would be, I don't know, it would suck, but then that's kind of the point of like losing somebody, right? He said it sucks.
Yeah.
But it would kind of suck to finish off the last episode and not even hear from Steven a little bit. So I don't know if he's going to be like Obi-Wan Kenobi, like just voice in the cockpit kind of thing.
I think it would be. I don't want Steven to come back. I'm gonna make a boom. Not this episode, at least. I think.
No, I don't think they should. But I'd be surprised if they didn't. Because
no, I agree. I think they will,
because it's been such a popular aspect of the show. People, we all really like Steven.
Yeah, he's great.
I told you, bing bonged us.
He bing
bonged us.
Bing bong it, dude. Hashtag bing bong it. I really like the idea of this story ending kind of with a reset for the character, because that's kind of the idea of these Disney Plus shows, right? Is that you can watch it if you want it, but for the most part, most of these are not going to be mandatory viewing. You know, WandaVision's a little different, but like, I don't think they intend for this show to be mandatory viewing. I think they will end this show with, like you said, Jake, taxi cab driver, whatever, in New York with a fresh slate, so that when they're ready to pull him into a movie, we can introduce him just like, yeah, he's this dude that's been doing this stuff. Like, he's got all this established. If you'd like to learn about that, you can go watch the show. If not, you get the idea. But like, I think,
and that makes it even more fun if you've watched it, right? And you just see like this regular like New York street hero, and then you think, I'm going to go back and watch the origins of Moon Knight, and it's a completely different character. Like, where the fuck? Where's this journey? You know, so that could be fun.
And getting rid of I don't see Harrow sticking around. I think we're going to get rid of him in this final episode. But I also am like, are we really? What is that going to be like? Like,
I don't know.
Moon Knight, time.
He gets the suit back. He's going to snap Harrow's staff. He's going to like. His eyes are going to glow purple. His mouth's going to open up, and he's going to like shoot purple spirits out of his throat into the sky as he dies.
Have you seen it?
No, but like, come on, man. This is just like, this is obviously what's going to happen. Then Moon Knight's going to have, and he's going to have to fight a whole bunch of like purple energy infused mummy zombies.
And then Blade's going to be like, I brought some help, Mr. Spectre. And Blade and the Black Knight are going to pop up.
But no, he's going to fight a whole bunch of mummies. Mm-hmm. Ethan Hawke's going to die. And then
hopefully Layla's
he goes to New York. I don't think she makes it.
I really like her character.
I think the death of the mum is kind of what brought Steven into play. I think the death of Layla is going to be what makes him want to
Jake to the kind of forefront.
And then he's going to like move to New York, have a fresh start, and
that's when he gets a little more violent.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. This makes it a really sad ending, but it establishes a really interesting character that they could use later on in the movies.
It seems like the kind of ending that they would want to do, given how they kind of let this all play out so kind of slowly. And
Dean, when this show has a happy ending, I'm going to be so disappointed now, because you have just convinced me that this should be a tragedy and that everything should go bad for him at the end.
It should be.
Hashtag I was Dracula all along.
It's eternal sunshine of the spotless mind.
We still have time.
He's gonna end this show as a different person. Maybe he's got a little photograph of Layla in his like cab driver, in the front of his car. So then it's like he's gonna like, one way or another, he's gonna like find his way back to her as another personality, and then you've got the potentiality for a juicy season 2, or just throw him into something as he is.
Maybe, I mean, I guess if he does end up in New York, we could see him cameo pretty much anywhere. I mean,
and then when he checks, he adjusts his mirror right at the end, and then there's Steven is looking at him in the mirror.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Boom, that's when it ends.
Oh, yeah. So Jake is like, he's like, all right, yeah, I'm about to drive off in my taxi cab. I think it's sitting in the back seat.
And then he adjusts the mirror, and Steven's sitting in the back seat going,
yeah,
this isn't, you've got to find Layla, Steven. You've got to find Layla, you know.
Jake just something. Like starts whistling like a really like, I don't know, something. Because like, the little bit we got of presumably Jake in the opening sequence seemed very Brooklyn accent, very I'm going to whistle on my way to work. Like, you know,
yeah.
I feel like a guy from a time that does not exist anymore. And I'm excited to probably see more.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac will come back. There's no way they're going to like completely.
What if it was Steven and Mark in the backseat? Yeah,
Yeah, you could do that. I just think, I don't know. I think Steven would be a fun, because he's the one that is like
gone.
He's gone, yeah.
Yeah.
So I just feel like a little murmur from Steven, you know, because we know now that Mark's the original one, so Mark's kind of just always going to be there one way or another, because he's the primary, he's the vessel, right? Yeah, I think we can just assume that Mark will be in there, but Steven is the one that we the people will want to see right before we close out this horrible, depressing tragedy.
I can only hope, Dean. I really want it to go that way now. I'm going to be so disappointed if it's a happy ending. Bit of a shorter episode, but we're going to start to wrap things out here. The finale is next week. We'll see what kind of crazy stuff happens. I will go from talking about that finale straight to my local movie theater to watch Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It will be very crazy. It will be very exciting. I will watch so many things next week, and it will be very exciting.
Good times.
Is there anything else you want to hit on, Dean, before we wrap this out?
No, quickly? I think we covered everything. I'll go back and rewatch the first 10 minutes.
A little bit at the beginning,
and then if I think that you missed something, we'll start the whole stream back up again.
Yeah, we'll sure.
Just, of course. But no, go and grab me on Twitter at Dean Lewis 2099. Find me being fun, having existential crisis over there, and you can catch me here talking about Marvel and probably Star Wars down the line.
You guys can follow me. Oh, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Sean_AFK. Everything I do is in my Twitter bio. You guys can follow this YouTube channel on Twitter at Movie Blog Merc. We do this show every Thursday at 6 p.m. There are other shows on this channel as well that you should check out because they're very good. I've been on a couple of them. Those ones, I was there, so like they might not have been that great. But the ones that I wasn't on, oh man. The other people on this channel are so talented. Not me. Them. At Movie Blog Merc on Twitter. Subscribe, follow, do all that, and we'll see you guys next week for the finale of Moon Knight.